Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Spill the Tea Lou. My name is Lou. Sorry about the delay getting live with you guys. It is lovely to see everybody in the house. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening and happy Monday. Dare I say it? Happy Monday. Sorry about the slight delay there. I was attempting to try to go live with OBS, but me and OBS apparently are not friends, and it's not happening. So here we are. We're live on YouTube. Hopefully the stream itself is going to hold up for me. Hopefully we are not going to be too glitchy like we were the other day. Please let me know, is the sound, is the sight, is everything okay for you guys, other than the fact it is Monday? How is everybody feeling? I see guesses in the house. Thank you so much for being here, my dear. I'm assuming you can see me if you're saying that I'm here, so that's very good. Probably you have gathered from the thumbnail that I am in fact going to be speaking about managers being sacked in the Premier League, because shock horror, we haven't spoken about that so far this season. You will see on your way into the chat there is a poll. How many more manager sackings do you predict this season in the Premier League? 2, 3 or more. If you're saying more, please put how many managers you think are going to be sacked by the end of the season for the rest of the season in the Premier League. I see our Flossie is in the house. We've got all the Smurfs in the house. So 3 ladies, me, Guess and Flossie, we're all in the house, all on time. Will not tell anyone I was a few minutes late. Hopefully the boys are on their way. Once you voted on the poll, please do also smash a like on the video. Lads, it's not going to be a super long one tonight because I have some lovely Mexican food that is going to be waiting for me when the stream is done. And as you know, I am very driven by my stomach. I have been unwell. I haven't been able to eat all the nice food. So tonight we're having some nice Mexican food. Pray for me. If you don't see me for a few days, it's because I got too brave too fast. So we are going to talk about the managers. Now, what I need to do is remember how to share what I can see with you, because that's where we need to be at. Where are we? That is not what I'm looking for. Have I forgotten to share the most important thing with myself? I did, because I'm a dope. I am a joke. Okay, so let's have a look at this because I had it here anyway. Shouldn't take me too long to find. Please excuse me a few moments while I look for something that I already had because I didn't with myself. So phone me, computer me, 2 different people. So when I'm doing the research for the videos, I do it on my phone because it's much quicker, it's much easier. And I'm like, oh, scroll, and it's grand. And then when I come to use it for a stream, I'm like, oh, that's very useful. I'll send that to myself for the stream so I can share it. And then if I don't send it to myself, I forget. So bear with me while I pull this back up. Apologies, I should be speaking to you while I'm typing, but as you know, I cannot speak and type at the same time because I type what I'm saying or I say what I'm typing, and honestly, that's just a disaster. So I have it now. If you could go away, I'm just trying to close some of the ads because you know I love to share a good ad, which is I really do need to get an ad blocker. But as I don't have one just yet, I'm getting rid of all the ads so you don't have to see them as well. Now, where are we? There we go. This is what I would like to show to the nice people. So this one. I'm just such a tech guru. It's unreal. Tech guru to the max. So, share. Ladies, please let me know. Can you see what I see? Oh, I've made you guys very small. That's not what I want. I don't want to make you guys small. There's our streets. Our streets is in the house. Welcome, you have joined just in time. You missed my introduction of 5 minutes of waffle. Do you know that I like to do at the start of the stream? You've actually joined in time to speak about the actual football stuff. So if you remember on the last stream, when I was talking about the matches, I was talking about the different managers being sacked. I was talking about the manager merry-go-round. We've talked a little bit about this throughout the season. And I said I was going to have a little look there's our Hassam in the house talking about Liverpool. He's Liverpool on the brain, this boy. Liverpool on the brain. Guess is looking for a spoiler alert. Well, guess, I'm going to tell you how many managers have been sacked so far this season. But first of all, I have to build suspense. Suspense, I tell you. So let's talk about the record currently for most managers sacked in a single Premier League season. So as you can see, top of the table was the 22-23 season with a massive 14 managers sacked in 22-23. So whatever was in the water in 22-23, you did not want to be a Premier League manager that season because likely your head was on the chopping block. Ned Stark-esque, you were out. So yeah, 14 streets, 14 managers sacked in the 22-23 Premier League season. So that is quite a lot. After that then, the previous record to that was 10. It had been set in 2013, 24, and then matched in 2017, 2018. And see, the next one is 9, but like they're quite a while ago. So I want to look at the top ones here. So the top 4 seasons are all in quite recent times. Do you know what I mean? They're all quite recent. These are a little bit further back. But if you look there, 21-22, we sacked 10 managers. And then the following season in 22-23, we sacked 14. Flossie, it is buffering for you. Unfortunately, how bad is it? Because if it's buffering that badly, I might just have to abandon the stream altogether because I don't have anything else to stream on at the moment, as I was planning to do it on OBS. OBS had a connection, wouldn't connect to my YouTube and get in. So is it like dreadful? Like, is it not watchable? Or is it buffering a little bit? Because if it's quite bad, I don't want you to have to watch like a super choppy, really bad stream. I try for it again another evening. I don't want to melt yous our heads and yous our ears because, to be fair, I talk as it is. You probably need headache tablets after my streams. I don't want to be making it worse if it's like really quite bad buffering. So let me know. Is it bad enough that I should just end the stream? You guys let me know. Flossie's in bed, so Streets is getting a lag. Guess is saying it's lagging, but it's not like a super a lot. But I'm good. Okay. If it gets to the point where it's like it's not watchable, where I'm better to just end it than trying to do it like this, let me know. Also, I am going to speak to my tech wizard after this stream about what in the name of God is happening, because that is 2 streams in a row. It's lagging like really, really, really badly, and it's the same internet as usual. It shouldn't be an issue, but obviously it is. 2 streams in a row, which is very frustrating. Yeah, I'm taking deep breaths. They say you should do that when you're frustrated. Take deep breaths. You must just internally do some yoga or whatever you call that, meditation on the inside, and it's all going to be fine. And hopefully it will stop lagging. But ladies and gentlemen, if it does get really, really bad, please do tell me, because I don't want you to suffer in silence, attempting to listen to me, giving up your time to listen to me if the stream is just going to misbehave. Nice to see Rob is in the house. So it was good we delayed slightly because now Rob has had the time to join us. Streets, yours is really bad. So Flossie said hers is okay for the moment. And Guesses isn't bad. Streets is quite bad. So I'll carry on for another few minutes. And if it's getting worse or if it's just not watchable, let me know. I can see I have one running beside me here just so I can keep an eye on it. I can see it's lagging a wee bit. It seems to be just juttery on my end rather than super bad. But let me know. Just keep me updated, guys, because I'll be watching the chat anyway. So just keep me updated on how it is. If it's getting worse, better, the same. And maybe it's me that's getting sacked. Maybe all these managers are having none of me and they're like, no, just sack her, get rid of her. We don't want to talk about getting managers sacked. So, as I said, the record for the most managers sacked in a single Premier League season is 14 managers. Then the previous record prior to that was 10, which was originally set in 2013-2014, but 21-22, 10 managers sacked, 22-23, 14 managers sacked. So we really upped our game. Now, 23-24 and 24-25 are not on this list, meaning we sacked less than 9 managers in that period of time. But so far this season, we have sacked 6 managers. So I'm going to, let me see, tab instead. So you should now see a new tab on your screen. Please let me know if you can see it. This is the changes in coach during the season. As you can see, planned change in coach at the end of the season, Oliver Glasner. We know he's definitely going to be gone by the end of the season, by the summer. But these are all the managers that have changed in season, okay? Or, well, I'm saying managers, but they're coaches. They're all head coaches now, aren't they really? We have... It's funny because up here, changing coach during the season, and then down here, they're all called managers, which makes me just have a little bit of a giggle. But I'm looking at permanent. I'm not looking at the caretakers. I'm just looking at the permanent managers. So Forest changed here. So that's 1, and that's a permanent manager change. West Ham changed. So that's a permanent manager change. So that's 2. Then Forest changed again, another permanent manager change. So that's 3. Then Wolves, as we know. Now, this one here, so Jamie only ever a caretaker manager, so I'm not counting him. So they went from Vitor Pereira to Rob Edwards. So I'm counting that as 1. So that has us on 4. And then Enzo Maresca. So Chelsea changed. Now, obviously, Callum McFadden, he was only, he's actually one of their youth coaches, isn't he? And he's only ever a caretaker. So it went from Maresca to, and then Ruben Amorim. Obviously, Michael Carrick is currently a caretaker manager. I mean, let's face it, with our club, that could end up being permanent. But Ruben Amorim was, in fact, sacked. So that is 6 managers so far this Premier League season that are no longer in their role, that have either been sacked or it has been mutually terminated, or whatever nice wording that they like to put on it. You can see here, some of them are very interesting. So obviously the one on the left is the outgoing manager. The on the right is the incoming manager. But it tells you what it is that they were in charge of the club. So obviously Michael Carrick's only in the door. He was there 9 days. Jamie Collins was only ever a caretaker manager. But I just found this one, like we've spoken about Nottingham multiple times, and this video isn't going to be about Nottingham Forest, but I did find it interesting that Ange Postecoglou, 39 days as a permanent manager at Nottingham Forest. And I wouldn't say Sean Dyche is sitting very comfortably at the moment. I would say if Nottingham Forest weren't already on their third manager of the season, I would say Sean Dyche would already be sacked. The thing that has kept Sean Dyche in his current position is the fact that he's the third manager of the season. Because can they go for a 4th manager in a season? Because things aren't exactly spectacular in Nottingham Forest at the moment. But what this led me to, because I thought, well, are we going to, it's possible between now and the summer that we're going to sack 8 managers in the Premier League and we are then going to beat the record of 14. I think that's unlikely. I don't think we're going to make it to the record of 14 managers sacked in a single season. I think it's highly unlikely we're going to sack 8 managers between now and the summer. But I did think it felt like more. I don't know how you guys feel, but it felt like more. Like we had more manager sackings. Maybe it's because we're talking about managers under pressure. We're talking about manager sackings. Some of them don't actually end up being sacked. So like we talked about Slot for so long and then he didn't actually end up being sacked. Like we've been talking about about Frank for so long. It feels like he's been sacked and rehired and sacked all over again. And then obviously we've known Glasner was going for a while. So even though he's not going now in season, which we are going to talk about, it felt like he was like they parted ways already, even though he's still physically at the club. And then, as I said, other managers like Nuno's been under pressure, Sean Dyche has been under pressure. So I think for me, it felt like we had sacked more managers than we actually have. And I did wonder, oh my God, are we actually going to set a new manager this season? So, yeah. Ray had some fun juice this evening and thinks that physios and doctors are also managers. So you can call them as you like, wee friend, but that's not what they are. So best of luck with that. Streets is saying if Carrick gets top 4, give him the job. I'll be honest, that's likely what's going to happen. If Carrick, I don't even think it has to be top 4. I think if Carrick gets us Champions League football, they're going to give him the permanent. I would actually be more surprised if they didn't keep him on than if they do, if he does well. I mean, if the feeling's bad about the place, they'll use the whole summer to talk about a new manager and not have to do any sort of transfers. They'll be too busy looking at managers. But I to be honest, I think they'll just keep him if he does well. It's easier for them. It costs them less money. He's already there. Anything less money and less effort, our club love it. So if he does any way sort of well that they can justify it, I think they'll just keep him. Let's face it, it's not as if they haven't got a track record for that kind of carry on. Tell me people of the comments, did you feel like more managers have been sacked or way ahead? Did you feel like we'd sacked a lot of managers this season? Streets is on the happy juice. Everybody's on the happy juice for a Monday. Lads, what are you thinking? Give me some. Streets is saying, random take, United play best attacking football in the league. Do you know what? Against City we did. Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what I love? See, when we play our way, I love it. Big up Billy in the chat. But folks, tell me, did you like we've sacked a load of managers this season? Like when I said 6, oh yeah, that sounds about right? Or did you feel like, no, I thought we'd sacked more managers already this season? Where were you at with that? Because I was convinced it was going to be more. When I saw, like 6 is still a lot, but when I saw it was only 6, I was like, oh, definitely felt like more than 6 for me. But yeah, I don't know, I was alone in that. So Flossie's in my boat. Flossie's saying, yeah, it does feel that way, Lou. It does feel like there's been more manager sackings. Oh, Streets is feeling brave this evening. Everybody's feeling brave. Everybody with Hassan in doing his Liverpool. It's poking the bear with Flossie asking if Howe should be gone. With Ray talking to physios being managers. Everybody's lost the plot. Monday's broken everybody. Monday has had enough of us. But actually, Streets, that is, does remind me, obviously not from Newcastle fans, but there had been talk in the media and on social about should Howe be under pressure. So he was another manager being talked about that never actually got sacked or got close to being sacked. So I think when you're talking about it all the time, it does feel maybe more of them are going than actually are going. But the two that I want to focus on, the two that potentially, so the poll, as we have more coming on the poll, the percentages have changed. So I'll go through it there. How many more manager sackings do you predict this season? 2 is now at 45%. Half of the people that have voted think 2. 3 has 27%. And more than 3 has 27%. Oh God, I know it's a sin. I know it's just for reading that out. I can't even say that. I know it's just feeling brave. Everybody has had a good one this evening. Flossie is going to use that spanner in a minute. But so if we think the majority of people think 2 more managers are going to be sacked or let go or part ways this season, it's a strong possibility that Thomas Frank might be one. We know Glasner isn't going to be, and we are going to speak about him, but we're going to have a look at Thomas Frank first. And it's a possibility that Thomas Frank will be one of the possible 2 that we think are likely to be let. So I want this with you. As you can see here, it's a nice flag. It says time for change. And in the wee circle is change for Tottenham. So it feels like Thomas might be under a little bit of pressure at the moment. So I shared that one to show you, but I've saved a few. Now, there's a few wee bits here, so don't worry. We're not going to talk about all of these things. So this was Ben Jacobs yesterday, January 18th. Thomas Frank's job under threat at Spurs after the 2-1 loss to West Ham, and a picture of Thomas Frank looking at the ground. And in this little thing on the picture, it says, to decide Frank's future with Pochettino open to return. And so he has just said, he's tagged Alex Crook and Alex Crook. I wonder if Alex knows he also goes by but so that was what was coming out yesterday. Obviously, there's been no announcement yet today, but that was the immediate news. We will talk about Emery sure there as well, but not just yet. So Thomas Frank has been under pressure for a little while. Even the most patient of Spurs fans are now starting to they've had enough of him. They've run out of patience. They are also pulling their hair out with this man because they just see, if you're playing attacking, exciting football, you see what's happening, you're seeing progress, you can sort of have a little bit of patience. But do you see when you're not seeing any progress, when it just feels like everything's a struggle? That's when it's hard to keep backing it and backing it and backing it. When he then starts sort of maybe taking what can be seen as pot shots at fans, I think that's when you're starting to put yourself into trouble there as well. But let's have a little look just at his management history. Now, I'm not obviously going to go through the whole amount of this, but we'll just look at the Premier League here. So there he is at Brentford as an assistant manager. He was assistant manager today for 94 games at Brentford. He then became the Brentford manager, and he was there for 317 matches, which is an enormous amount of time to spend at a club, particularly by today's. When we're talking every few weeks, every few months about sacking managers lasting 6 months, managers not even lasting seasons, like clubs having 3 managers a season. For someone to last 317 matches, 2018 until 2025 at a single club, having already been an assistant manager there for 94 games, is an enormous amount of time. It's absolutely massive. Thinking that's a steady hand that can steer a ship. He then comes to Tottenham in the 1st of July 2025. He is expected, if he was to see out his contract, to be there until June of 2020. It's unlikely that that is now going to happen, but I did have something else that I wanted to show you about why it might be unlikely, just to put things in perspective. So let me know if you can see this, or if the writing is too tiny, it looks too tiny. I'm going to scroll her in, I'm going to look it up, and let me know if that is visible to you. So as I said, Frank came into Spurs on the 1st of July 2025. We're going to look at this graphic in the list, and then we're going to look at from when Frank actually came in. So when he came in, there was a mixed reaction to him in the first place, but there was a majority of fans that said, look, let's see what he can do. We're going to give him a bit of time. We're not going to judge him straight away. However, have won 4 times in their last 25 matches at home in the Premier League. Is not good. Lads, I would suggest that is entirely dreadful. That is very, very bad. Dare I say, big bad. Big bad. 4 times out of 25 at home Premier League. That's 6. That's about 16%, give or take. Like, horrible. As you can see, that date back as far as the 11th of October the 10th of November 2024. So it's not even that long ago. What I will just say is I thought that's a really terrible stat. But obviously Thomas Frank hasn't been there since 2020. Is it really fair that he is then being sort of, all the frustration is being taken out on him if it was probably building long before he was actually there? And so I can see I'm buffering. I can see the buffering, lads. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I am going to speak with my tech wizard after this stream so that it happen again. Unacceptable. Bold Lou. But we will deal with it. But I'm gonna be in the relegation zone with Spurs. So thank you for the patience that are here. I see obviously Jay has now joined us in the house as well. Thank you, lads, for sticking with me. I really, really appreciate it because I understand it can be frustrating when the buffering's happening. But yeah, so I just thought, is he under fire for something that's not his fault? That frustration was very clearly grown before he came to the club. Is he having to pay the price for not only his own mistakes and his own issues, but everybody that came before him as well? The frustration that was already building before he was hired. So what I did, I went and I had a little look. So 11 of the games. So we see here, Frank came in, it was July, 1st of July, 2025. So there is April, May here. So Thomas Frank comes in here. So from 15 to 25 is Thomas Frank. I don't know where that's come from. I'm getting rid of it. So he has lost, let me see. So he won the first game at home because he came in here and then he lost. He won another one, lost. So out of his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, out of his 11 games at home, he's won 2. 2 out of 11. Isn't that far off 4 out of 25? So actually, no, he's not being scapegoated. He's not paying for the frustration from previous managers. He has presided over basically half of this terrible record. This is unbelievable. If I knew nothing else that was happening at Spurs, if I didn't know about the unrest, if I didn't know about the quotes, we went from Romero recently on the channel when he's coming out saying, you know, it shouldn't be him talking, it shouldn't be that, it should be the higher people up. And there's clearly an unrest in the dressing room, clearly an unrest in the club. Clearly they were doing badly before he came. So it's not that he came and made them bad, it's that he came and hasn't improved them, which was really the accusation that a lot of our fans levelled at Ruben Amorim. Not making it better. Keeping him is actually making it worse. Sacking him doesn't fix it. Sacking him prevents it from getting worse. So I think when I saw this, it really gobsmacked me. It really, really astounded me. And like when we look, obviously they've played, you know, some good teams, some considered big teams. But if you look here at the teams from here, Bournemouth, Southampton, Forest, Palace, Brighton, Burnley, Bournemouth again, Wolves, then Chelsea who are up and down, United who are up and down, they drew with us, Fulham, Brentford, Liverpool are having a shocking season, Sunderland and West Ham. So it's not that they're playing City and Arsenal aren't even in here. Do you know what I mean? It's not the top teams. So it's really, really, really not good. You can see why he's under pressure. I think it's only a matter of time before he's gone. And sometimes it's not a case of being a bad manager. Sometimes it's of the manager and the club not being a good fit. And that was something I spoke about a few times when we were talking about Ruben Amorim at Manchester United. You don't have to be a bad manager to get sacked or to not be continuing in your role. Sometimes it's just a case of wrong fit for the club. And it just looks, he really is the wrong fit for the club. What do we think, people? I'm going to come into some of your comments because I have been rambling for quite a while. I want to know what you are thinking. Do you think Frank lasts much longer? Do you think he's going to be sacked? Do you think he's going to walk? Do you think, were you aware of how bad this record? What are your thoughts on Thomas Frank? Jay, it is me jumping. I do apologise. It is the second stream in a row where even when I'm glitching, you can't get me. So sorry about that, folks. We're struggling through. We are soldiering on. So Rob is saying no. He reckon Frank is gone in a few days. So he's counting Frank as one of the ones that's going to be sacked before the end of the season. Flossie's saying you can't get a word in. You can't. Do you know what it is? The stream is actually lagging on purpose just so you get an opportunity to talk. It's I don't stop for breath. So the stream is trying to stop. I say we have Z Gold in the house who is asking if Spurs are better than United. Now, let's not be silly. Let's not be silly. One day of madness. Spurs are not better than United. Crazy, crazy. Let me see. What else are we saying? Alignment in the house. Can everybody else hear me? Or is everybody struggling with sound the way Olanma is? If you want sound and picture, I might just have to go. The gremlins might win on this one. Yes, you can hear me. Everybody else can hear me. Everybody else can hear me. Is my sound glitching or just my image? Okay, and guess's lag isn't that serious as well. Okay, sound is perfect. Okay, well, that's the important part. You don't even have to look at me, really. I mean, you can if you want to, but just don't have to. So really, the main thing is you can hear me. Just put it in your ears and picture Thomas Frank. That's what just you still have nightmares. But yeah, keep me updated if the sound starts to go on yous as well. I do apologize. My friends. Imagine what it's like when I don't go live and I say I have technical issues. If this is the ones I'm going live with, imagine how bad it gets behind the scenes. Goodness me. But look, the show must. I did think, and this is the last thing I want to share on poor Thomas Frank, and then we are going to talk about Oliver Glasner moment. So this is just a fan account, but they quoted from the interviews, the after-match interviews, that I thought was very funny. So as you can see, this was posted on the 17th of January. Thomas Frank comes out and says, we were close to something very good. And this was in his after-match comments. Romain out and says, this was a disaster. And I just thought that's the kind of joined up thinking that brings success between a manager and a captain. And I'm not laughing at Spurs in a like ha-ha way. Because I relate to this so hard. When there's a lack of leadership, when there's a disparity between opinions at the top, when people aren't all pulling in the same direction, when it's a mismatch of the person and the team and the club, I agree with Rob Always United. I think it's a matter of days for Thomas Frank. What I do wonder is, where are they going to go next, lads? Who are they going to hire? Because surely there can't be that many managers left to be hired. They've all been hired and sacked already, basically. Which actually brings me to my next question for you. Would you, if your manager was sacked tomorrow, let's just say, would you hire a manager that has already been sacked by another Premier League team? So the reason I ask that is because obviously your automatic reaction is going to be, no, why would I want to hire someone who's already been sacked? Because they're very bad at their job. That's why they got sacked. But the reason I question that is sometimes it can be a bad fit. So a manager might not be a terrible manager. They might not be a good fit for that club. They might fit your club much better. So I see everybody's just like, no, having none of it. If they've been sacked, they're not good enough. I know, is this my way of asking for Enzo? Absolutely not, friend. And Rob is saying, once bitten, twice shy. And Ray is telling us Frank is 1 to 4 as the next sacking. Bloody hell. That is serious. Those, you would have to spend €4 to get €1 back. He's done. He's cooked, isn't he? Streets is saying, best option is to bring Poch back, but goodness me, Spurs' quality is also stinky. So in essence, what can Frank do? And I think, again, And it's funny how so many of the situations mirror each other, because often when I'm speaking about other teams, so like when I was speaking about Liverpool, the Salah slot situation, when I was speaking about Chelsea there recently, now when we're speaking today about Spurs and about Frank and about managers and players, it just feels like a lot of the problems the clubs are facing that feel so unique to your club, they're actually not unique at all, because we're all going through them. Because definitely when it came to sacking Ruben Amorim, he wasn't good enough, he wasn't performing well enough, he wasn't a good fit for the club. However, that didn't mean that all the players were fantastic, the board was fantastic, and everything else was in place. It meant he was a problem, not the problem. There's multiple problems. So exactly what Streets is saying there, even if they get rid of Frank, even if they get Poch back, it doesn't necessarily mean everything's going to be okay, because they have so many other problems, such as some of the quality of their players. And I saw another comment up there a little bit higher, can't remember who said it, but about Kane and Son carried Spurs for so long, and now we're seeing kind of where they actually are. What I think that is as well, and we talked about this with Liverpool again, so we're seeing the same problem that's going across the board. We talked about this with Liverpool, and we probably touched on it a little bit with Newcastle without maybe saying it in these terms. Progression planning. When your squad is starting to age out, when your better players are starting to age out and they're going to look for that sort of retirement move or to move away, or, you see the end is nigh, you need to plan for it. You need to be 2 or 3 seasons ahead to know that, like, there's people in place for when they're gone. Now, Newcastle fans are calling for this at the moment. They see their squad is aging. They can see they're going to need reinforcements. They're calling for these transfers to be happening now, so they'll be bedded in by the time those players are actually aged out. I think that's so intelligent, and I think it's great foresight from the fans of Newcastle, and I hope that for my Newcastle friends, I hope that their owners and that their board listens to that. As a rival, I hope they don't. I hope you do what the rest of us do and make a mess of it. Sorry, Flossie. But it just seems to be poor succession planning. They had no plan for what they were going to do after Son and Kane were gone. The same way Liverpool didn't appear to have a real plan what they were going to do after Salah and Dijk and a lot of their other players were gone. So as clubs, we're so busy sacking our managers and our coaches and replacing them every 6 months, we're not succession planning then for the players, because we're putting this fire out and then we're putting that fire out, and by the time we're fighting this fire over here, there's a fire over there that's already started, and we're never ahead. We're never planning ahead. I would dread to think, so some of yous know, some of yous don't, like, I run my own business, but prior to running my own business, I worked in business. I was a HR manager. I did massive amounts of succession planning. I did massive amounts of training. I did massive amounts of like how to replace your talent when it moves up your pipeline. And honestly, these clubs give me palpitations, because obviously none of them are doing it. Nobody is planning ahead. Nobody is succession planning. Nobody is looking up the pipeline. And I cannot understand why, because it's so easy to do. And then you look, it's because they're sacking their coaches every 6 months. So we come full circle to what we were talking about at the start of the show, the whole way through. We're sacking managers by the minute. We're sacking 2 and 3 managers a season. If we continue to do that, we don't have the time or the resources to then succession plan the players as well. And that seems to be what the problem is with Spurs. And so Ray is saying, in fairness, Spurs are financially very secure. They got Vinay Venkatesham, ex-Arsenal, who's all about being frugal and operating within themselves. Spurs have top income revenue. Do you know what it is, though? That actually, to me, makes it worse, because it means that they have somebody with the oversight in the financials who have put them in a position to be able to spend the money when they need it, like now, to put them in a better position. I don't mean spend willy-nilly the way United were doing, or the way like just throwing money at your problems. But if that guy, Vinay, is that good and he's put them in that good of a financial position, they are in a very rare position in the Premier League to actually do something about the situation that they found themselves in. So why aren't they? Is it because, as I said, they haven't planned properly? So they have the finances available to do it. The finance guy was planning, but nobody else was. They've nothing to do with the money because they don't know. And it's frustrating. I'm not even a Spurs fan and I'm frustrated. I'm like, okay, so not only can we see the problem, we have the facilities to fix the problem and we're not. That's worse again. But I'll be very interested. He's clearly going to go. He's very clearly going to go. It's not going to last. 1-4 is crazy odds. It's not working. It's a broken relationship. There's no point in going forward with it. And Spurs, when people say a change is as good as a rest, Spurs, if they're going to have any chance of doing anything with the rest of their season, they need to bring somebody new in. I just don't know who it's going to be. Now, that brings us on to the next man, who was doing his best. So we have Thomas Frank, who maybe doesn't want to be sacked and is going to be. And then we have John Boy with Oliver Glasner doing an absolute madness out there all over the place. And he's coming out, to be fair, with very valid quotes. We talked through the quotes, so I'm not going to stick with the quotes too much. I'll briefly mention them, but we talked about them. Was it yesterday we were live together? Lads, I can't keep track of the days, but we talked about his quotes. He's finding out about player sales the day before. He found out about Eze the day before. They sold the captain 24 hours before a key match when the window was open for another few weeks. They could have just waited till next week to sell him. So look, he's very, very unhappy. He announced, it came out kind of 2 months ago, it came out ages, because I was looking at old videos today. We were talking about him going like weeks and weeks ago, and then it came out again officially. And so obviously then with his most recent comments, everybody was like, bloody hell, he's obviously not going to last a whole lot longer. So let me see. Let me show you what I see. Not only do I want to see, I want you to see. I want us all to see together. Now, there we are. That should be, is that better for people to see? If not, I'm going to read it out to you anyway. So on January the 7th, after these quotes, this Glasner situation is unlikely to end well. As you can see, I'm talking Alex Crook here. This Glasner situation is unlikely to end well. I am told that Crystal Palace Football Club hierarchy not aware he was planning to announce his exit during Friday's press conference, but the announcement made no difference. We all knew he was going anyway, so I don't reel there. But the next day, January the 18th, Rob Dorset of Sky, there was talks then after the quotes. Crystal Palace, and Kate actually told us this live, but I wanted to go and have a little look into it so we can talk about it a bit further. So Kate, we did get this news live on stream, yes, so I was on the ball for us, Kate and Jimbo. But Rob Dorset said, Crystal Palace Football Club have decided not to sack Oliver Glasner as they want him to see out his contract despite his comments yesterday criticising the club's board. Glasner has been involved in January transfers and club expect him to turn the poor form around. And he has tagged Sky Cav as well in that. Now, we did talk about yesterday, is it the possibility they're not financially in a position to sack him? Because obviously when you sack a manager, you have to give them the payout for the rest of their contract. You often get rid of all of the coaches, whether they're good at their job or not, and then you have to the rest of them as well. So Ray is agreeing with what we said yesterday and afford to sack Glasner because that will likely mean compensation. And who told us yesterday, but somebody was telling us yesterday, the Crystal Palace finances are not in a good position. They can't afford to pay him out. They just can't afford to pay him out. So he just has to suck it up, Buttercup, get on with it. Do we think he was trying to get sacked, or do we think he was just said what was on his mind? Because obviously we had Maresca, who come out and said mad stuff. Then we had Amram, who come out and said mad stuff. And whether you think this is true or not, I'm not saying the statements themselves are crazy. I'm saying them publicly are crazy. So they're all coming out saying stuff that they pretty much know could potentially lose them their job. It does make you wonder, are they trying to get sacked? And so that's what I asked now about Oliver Glasner, because it was asked of Maresca and it was asked of Amram. Was Oliver Glasner trying to get himself sacked? Did he want to, instead of seeing out to the summer, did he want to be sacked so he could receive this payout, go off to whatever his new job is with a pretty penny in his pocket? What do we think? Do we think Yes or no, was he trying to get himself sacked? Or do you just think he was frustrated? He's just had enough, and so he's just said what come into his head. And you know what I'll do? I'm going to read some of these comments, lads, because I feel like I haven't chatted to you in a few minutes. Well, I've been chatting, but I have been, listening. So I'm going to read some of your wee comments there. What are you saying? I know it's feeling full of positivity. Spurs will be Spurs no matter who is in charge. Trash. So obviously iNotes is loving it. Let me see. Streets is saying replace Spurs with Villa in the top 6 and we're eating good. Had enough of Spurs talk. Nothing club without Kane and Son. We read Ray Ray's comment about the finances. iNotes has sickened himself by saying that Spurs have a good stadium. But he did it. He got there. And Flossie is asking everybody, did you all hit like button? If you didn't, you are all going on the naughty step and she's going to flash her spanner ashes. So I hope you have, folks. What else have we got? Rob Aldridge Knight is saying he's surprised about Glasner that he's not being sacked, but at least he won't be coming to us. Yeah, I don't want him. Don't want him now. I was very positive about him in the video I did on him and Areola at the start of the season. But from what I have now seen, I want him. We don't need that kind of drama. We just don't need it. Ray is saying Emery had awkward silence during the Everton post-match. It was very interesting. That is very interesting because let me show you something else. Now, this is just a bit of fun. I will come back to Glasner. This is just a little bit of fun that I want to show you. Where is it gone? All the way up. Lads, I saved so many things to talk to you about. So, we did talk about this before. You see this award, it comes at a price. Unai Emery was Manager of the Month for December. The previous month, Manager of the Month was Amorim, sacked. The Manager of the Month before that, Fresca, parted ways. Is this a bad sign for Unai Emery? And then, obviously, they had the match. The match where they could have gained points, the match where they could have got to 4 points behind Arsenal and moved into second ahead of City, and they didn't. And Emery's quote after that, as we can see from Red Devil Girl, was Unai Emery saying, "We are not a contender to be in the top 5. There are other teams with more potential than us. While level on points with Manchester City is worse than Times comments on maybe being the worst United team ever. And we're clearly in the context of results, and Emery's feel like he is writing off its ability." She continues, "Mate, team won 11 on the bounce, including against Arsenal, then lose at the Emirates, win against Forest, draw against Palace, win against Spurs, and lose to Everton, and suddenly you've written your team off. Please never bring him to Old Trafford." So again, another manager we wouldn't want at Old Trafford because of comments that he is making. It brings me back to the question, are we going to run out managers? What are we going to do with this lot? Because my goodness me, is there going to be anybody left standing at the end of the season? We're saying at the moment, let's go back to the poll. What are we saying? I was going to say what we're saying, but I don't know anymore. So how many more manager sackings do you predict this season? 2 is now at 36%. 3 is at 29%. And more than 3 has crept up and is also 6%. So as we've been talking about the managers in the Premier League, you have realised actually maybe more of them are going to get sacked than the situation is much worse than we first anticipated. It could be more than 3. So it just goes to show you, the more we talk about it, the more you think, bloody hell, maybe we could break. But I see there, what is Jay saying? Jay is saying, keep Carrick for now. And you know what it is? People are saying, look, only as an interim, definitely not after his interim period. We just Ollie, I mean, no harm. I'd take a repeat of Ollie. He was unbelievable, broke all sorts of good records, and we were playing unbelievable football. So I would take that, please, thank you. Minus player power. But there's plenty of people saying, look, we don't want to repeat the past. If he's doing well, that's all great, but we want to bring in a top-notch manager at the end of it to go into next season with. But when these horror story interviews, when you see these horror story interviews, you have to wonder, are the top-notch managers top-notch? All bubbling underneath the surface. Are there any top-notch managers that are going to be available, willing to come to the Premier League, willing to come to Manchester? If Michael Carrick does really, really well, are we actually just better keeping him than going for one of this lot who just can't cut? We talk about player power. We talk about players on social media saying things, and we have talked about that as United fans. But all of these managers, oh my goodness me, they're actually getting as petulant as the players. And I do have to wonder now with Emery, I don't think Emery's looking for the sack. I just think he's a very emotional man, because this is the kind of thing he comes out with all the time. He says stuff like this is new for him. So in Emery's case, I don't think he's trying to get sacked. I actually just think, which doesn't make it any better, to be fair. But when you look at Glasner, after Amorim, after Maresca, I have to wonder, is the man looking for a payout? Is the only reason he's not getting his payout because they literally don't have it to give to him? Is it a case of, do you know what? Are the managers getting a bit soft? We talk about the players being a bit soft and the players needing mollycoddled and the players having to be sort of babied a little bit. Are the managers being a bit babied? Are they throwing the toys out of the pram? Do the managers need to cop themselves on a wee bit? You did something I didn't like, so I'm going to say something mean in an interview, and then you'll have to give me money. It just sounds a bit petulant. The whole lot of it sounds a bit ridiculous. Has nobody ever heard like a private meeting? Do these people not speak to each other face to face in person? Like, if somebody annoyed me, I'm not going to come on the internet on YouTube and be like, lads, you'll never guess who annoyed me this week. I'm going to go to the person and be like, you're after doing my head in. What is wrong with you? Have people lost the ability to speak to each other? Do you know what I mean? And I understand some of the things they're saying might be correct in mind what some of us as fans think. That doesn't mean that they should come outside of the organisation and shout their mouth off. It's just not, be professional, do your job. And I think a load of them are looking for payouts. And it just leaves sour taste, and it's just the game so very much. But what Rob is saying, all the dirty laundry is being aired in public. All of it. Have they no shame at all? Is nobody embarrassed to be airing all of their dirty laundry in public? You're basically coming out and saying, I am incapable of having a professional disagreement privately with my boss. It's Behind the dugouts is saying, but Lou, where would the entertainment come from? Football isn't just football anymore. It's drama central. Bun EastEnders is the Prem. Ray is saying we're all shameless these days. And Alanma is asking, managers can use... No, Alanma, I'm saying none of them should be doing it in public. I'm saying they should all sort themselves out. But look, behind the dugouts and Ray are as well, in terms of it gives people like me something to talk about. No, I wouldn't. What would I have talked about in this video? Probably just United beating City again. But it gives us a conversation. It gives us something to talk about. It gives a platform like this. It gives somebody like me a channel. It does give us topics to talk about. However, if I'm the owner of one of these clubs and my manager's coming out doing stuff like this, I'm not if I'm another manager, I'm not going to hire them. I was a hiring manager, and I suppose maybe I'm just so very biased. I was a hiring manager. If I know you have been poorly behaved in your previous role, I'm not hiring you. If you're a problem child, I'm not hiring you. Why would I hire? You're going to give me a headache. I think they're talking themselves out of jobs here. But I do worry we're going to run out of managers. How many managers are in the pipeline? Managers can Europe produce a year? We're using them up and spitting them out. Quick can produce them. So I wonder who is going to place Frank. I wonder where will Glasner go after Crystal Palace, because I did originally think he might stay in the Premier League. I now don't think he's going to stay in the Premier League. Who knows? It's all up in the air because anybody could be sacked. We don't know what clubs might need a manager at that point. There could be he could go anywhere. We don't know who's going to need a manager. He could end up at West Ham. He could end up replacing Sean Dyche. Maybe he's the next Nottingham Forest victim. We don't know if Liam Rosenior is going to last. Maybe he goes there, although I don't think Chelsea would take him. He's too outspoken for them. He might want to go back to Austria. It's just like, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen next? It's like a lottery. But I just thought it was worth talking about. I know we've spoken about managers a lot this season, but there's a lot happening with them. Happening with the managers than there is with the football at this stage. Honest to God. And you know what? Who said that? Behind the dugouts. It is like EastEnders. Peggy Mitchell would be proud. It's like, what do you call it? It's like the Queen Vic. Who's Cat Slater? Is it Emery? Is Emery Cat Slater? I swear to God, though, it's mental. And I think in the context of the manager merry-go-round, if Michael Carrick came in and did well, consistently well, I wouldn't be devastated if him, say, a year contract, and we'll see how it goes after a further season. Because what are the alternatives out there? Who even know? Behind the dugouts, Sean Daniel Mitchell. Do you know what? That's a good one. That's a good one. He'd bust you. Is that Martin Coney was talking to the other day? He wasn't a happy camper with that bucko. Cancel football if you're doing that. Oh, we'll knock it into the handball for Arsenal. We'll all be done not together. Right. Let me see. What else? Ray is saying even Arteta's job isn't safe in some eyes. And you know what? Isn't that a madness? I don't really have a strong opinion on Arteta. I don't really care one way or the other. I don't like him or dislike. But how can you possibly be 7 points clear? Is it 7 points there or 6? Either way, it's a lot. 7 points clear at the top of the league. And in a real, genuine sense, there are people out there calling for you to be sacked. Your job is genuinely being questioned by some people. If I knew nothing about football, if I'd never watched football before, and somebody explained to me, this guy is 7 points ahead for one of the biggest, most prestigious trophies, and there are people wanting to be sacked, I would be like, why? And obviously I understand there's more to it, there's previous seasons, but it just goes to show you the world we live in is crazy. iNotes, shout out to Roy Keane, you big baby. iNotes, and iNotes is back at me. He's saying against him, Lou. He failed 3 times already. Behind the dugouts, nobody remembers second place. I do. I remember second place under Ollie. Unbelievable. But I get your point. Ray is saying because of 22 years of trauma. Look, I understand. And behind the dugouts is saying he doesn't win the league, he will get sacked. And look, that's where, to be fair, you do have to put, I've taken all the context out. If you add all the context back in and he doesn't win the league, from being 7 points clear, after the amount of attempts he's had, I do think he'll have to be sacked. If he loses it from 7 points clear on the 19th of January, having tried so many times, I do think he has to be sacked. But I also think people currently calling for him to be sacked, even if he wins, is mental. It's crazy. So iNotes is saying they won't sack him. Even if he doesn't win the league, they won't sack him. I could open a can of worms there. I think they should. Whether they will or not, I think you might be right, iNotes. But I think he's going to win. They have league. If they don't win the league this year, bloody hell, what is wrong with them? But yeah, Ray is saying we're all shameless. Yeah, look, that's where we're at, lads. Like I said, I just wanted to have a bit of a chat because I thought we were heading for a record season of manager sackings. We're obviously think we're going to hit 14 manager sackings. Let me end this poll. So this will be the final. I always do this. I put a poll up for when you are coming in, so you have something to look at. And it's not, have you liked the video? Because everybody just X's those. I X those. See, when I go on a channel, it says, have you liked the video? I mean, I'm not doing it now because you're after telling me to. In that note, please do like the video. But I like to do fun polls, actually relevant to the stuff we're talking about. So We finished the poll there. 2 has 44%, 2 managers to be sacked by the end of the season, 2 more. That would bring our total to 8. So we wouldn't even be on the table if that was right. More than 3 has 31%. So if it's more than 3, let's just say 4, added to the 6 we've already done, that's 10. That would bring us level with the 2012-2013 season. And then 25% of people are saying 3. Behind the dugouts is saying, do I have any collabs coming up? I don't, we friend. Obviously, we have Arash NUFC. He be on with me every single Friday. He will be back on Friday. It's always Arash. Other than that, I don't have any upcoming collabs just right now. I work 6 days a week running my own business, and then I do this in the time that I have available. So it's quite difficult to try and organize collaborations because my schedule is so restricted, and I don't want to be very awkward with people having to try and work around me. And obviously, I'm only a wee newbie. I think 331 subscribers is absolutely loads of people, but in the grand scheme of YouTube, it's not loads and loads of people. So most people don't really know who I am just yet. Yous are the OG gang. So at some point, I am sure there will be collaborations, but just not right now. But yeah, I'm hoping in the future there will be some coming up. And Jay said he put 3. He reckons 3. If I was guessing, lads, just based on the conversation we've just had, when we're looking at the number of managers that are currently under pressure, when we look at the way the season's going, how close everything is, how easy it is to drop off, I reckon it probably is going to be 3 or 3 more. Jay said I should get subscriptions. Jay, at the moment, so to get your channel on YouTube monetized, you have to have over 500 subscribers. So once you have over 500 subscribers and people have watched enough of your content, then you can introduce memberships and all the fun stuff. So at the moment, I'm still too wee. I'm not big enough to be able to do any of the fun stuff yet, but I am working on it. The more lives we do, the more likes we get on the video, the more chats we have in the evenings, the more people we tell about the channel, then the more we can do and make it fun. And the first one I'm going to have is a cool teapot, not the normal teapot. I'm going to do something funky with it. I'm going to have fun. Me and my tech skills obviously are going to be able to do any of that stuff. But lads, honestly, yous are unbelievable, and it's so lovely. Whether the channel grows and grows and grows or it stays exactly at this size, I am so delighted because it's such a big deal for me. Like, you guys take time out of your day to come here and spend it with me and support my channel. Every single comment is put in, every single time you are in the live chat, every time you hit a like, every time you even look, you are like, he's add so much. When I started doing this, before I did my first video, Mama Flossie was there and I was saying, do you know what? I'll just try it and see. I've been doing it on other people's channels. I'll give her a go. If something happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And now look at us. So we gang. But I appreciate obviously every single minute of people's time that they give to watch my content, because I just feel like I'm having a chat with my friends. I constantly just feel like we're having a bit of crack, a bit of banter. And I think that's so important. I love the relaxed vibe that we have going on. I feel like we literally could, the whole lot of us, just head down to the pub and have a bit of a chat and a bit of crack. And I enjoy that so much. And it's something I felt like maybe was getting lost on YouTube, because I felt some YouTube channels, some of the bigger YouTube channels, and I suppose it's an easy thing to fall into, were becoming kind of mainstream style, and everything was a debate and everything was a bit argumentative, and I just wanted a space in the corner, in the wee corner of YouTube, to be a bit more relaxed, to be a bit more chit chat, to be a bit more like this. You're talking to me, I'm talking to you. That's kind of what I'm going for. And so I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. I do appreciate all your time, and I am going to let you go. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I am going to go and eat some Mexican food. If you don't see me for a few days, it's entirely my own fault. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will speak to you all very soon, people. Thank you.